Cover that up?
Yeah.
Huh?
Nothing.
Now? Yeah, just send me a physical address and I'll give you a call later on. Alright? 85 3/4? Yeah.
Hey Paul, you see how they got the little roof of them? Hold it down. Turn bar too. Hold it down. Hold it down. Okay. Hold up.
Yep. Alright, now, for when you measure your metal, this is what we do. Throw the pencil on the ground. Yeah. So the first thing we do is go around, we start measuring how far it is from the fascia board to the mobile home itself, and we write that number down in the face. And then you want to figure your metal for 10 foot each. Minus 2 inches because of the overlap. And then you measure again here. And you go from that mark. Allow for your overlap. Measure again. Mark it down. Go from your line again. Yep. This one here, we have a porch we're going to run into. So you write down how far it is, 79 inches. Go to that point, measure again. They should come out most of the time the same. And so far we're coming out with about 6.5, 6 1/4. This is going to be a transition. We're going to take off this old roll roofing. Or we're going to put some insulation board over it. We come back 2 inches for the overlap. Here. 119. Measure back to the house again. Like I said, it should be all about the same. This is again 6.5, 6 1/4. 6 1/4 would be good. Because you got that little flap on the metal, you can bend back. You got a little bit different. Then you measure from here to the end of the house. 47 inches. Measure back to the house. 6 1/4 again. And you go around the whole house doing that. Hold on, let me record that. Okay, this one here. You're going to come in. Allow that 6 1/4 inches. Get your number. This is the end of the house. 6 and 8. And then you go from there to the peak. Still got to allow for your overlap. 73 inches on this one. That tells the guy on the ground what to measure. You go around the whole house doing that, and then the man on the ground can come by and look at them numbers and start bending metal. Okay. So we're doing the same thing again. We measured our first one. 10 foot minus 2 inches for the overlaps on each end. 6 1/2. Write the number down. So the guy on the ground can see it. If you keep doing that all the way around the whole house, you'll have all the numbers you need. Now, the other thing we did for the transition, you notice it doesn't go all the way down to the transition. So we take a piece of plywood and cut it, and we set our 2x4 in a 1/2 inch so that our plywood comes out and matches our other fascia, and everything's flush, just like this, see? and we go all the way down so that when we come up with our rubber, we can come straight up and not have that space on the bottom. And we did that all the way down through here. And that's our next step. Now, if the transition had been up tight to it, we wouldn't have to put that piece of plywood on there, but it doesn't. It wouldn't have to offset it, so. On this job, whoever glued this thing down, they didn't really glue it. Fortunately, thank goodness for us, because now we can just take this off and glue our rubber right down to that. Excuse me. I've been dealing with a cold here, so. So Paul went around the whole house taking all the measurements for the fascia metal. Chris down here in the ground. Yes, sir. Alright, so I got Chris down here in the ground painting all of our pipes and vents.
This pipe here, it was on the inside of the cabinet and it was getting rusty.
Yeah.
So I cleaned it up.
Make it look nice.
And painted it back.
Yeah. This is the stove vent that he's painting right now, and when you open up the cabinets you can actually see it. So we want to make it look nice when they open their cabinet like it's brand new pipe. So we're going to go ahead and paint it up, make it look nice. It was starting to get some rust on it. So it's an exposed pipe. We want to make it look real nice. And then we're going to pull a metal brake out, set it up. Chris will go around taking all them numbers that Paul just took and start bending metal. And I'll show you that part in a minute. This one here had rolled roofing on it. I'm going to rip that off. Roll roofing right off. They didn't glue it down or anything, which is a good thing for us.
They did the edges, it looks like.
What they did was put it down to felt paper.
Old.
Yeah. It's all right. That's just, this is that old stuff. Old stuff. I wouldn't use this on my doghouse. So what we're doing here is going ahead and installing that excuse me, that piece of OSB all the way down to this existing roof. We're going to cut that rubber right there and just peel it off because it's not stuck down. And it was different from that end to this end. So what we did was we took our piece of plywood, laid it up here, and just scribed the back of it and cut it so we knew how tall it would be. And we made all our pieces. And like I said, this is just so that when our rubber goes up there, we don't have any blank empty space right there where the rubber can get all messed up. Like I was telling you, on this particular video, I didn't do a whole bunch of the plywood part. I did a little bit of it. You see it every time. I want you to see transitions, how we do them. I want you to see metal bending, how we do that. Another one of Drew's roofing and home repair videos, rubber roof, how to. Like I said, we didn't do this. He had somebody else do that, and we didn't do that back porch. He had somebody else do that. On this particular one, we just did the mobile home itself. The porch wasn't there when we did the roof, so they actually did it themselves. I left them some rubber to do that with. I mean, it's easy to do. Watch a few of my videos, you can do the same job. That's my 2016 Tundra, which I love. So we replaced that piece. On this back side, we have a porch that was on here. We have a rotten plywood on the bottom, or OSB, excuse me. So we'll go ahead and replace that piece also. We installed all this plywood yesterday. Yeah, look at this. Whoever glued that on there, or supposedly glued it on there,
Ain't as good as we do.
No, no. You won't pull my rubber off like that, I'll tell you that. So, if you have any porches and have anything rotten on them, go ahead and get rid of it. This one here had some EPDM on it. Wasn't glued down very well. I do not personally like putting drip edge on and then that little strip around it. Don't like it. I like going over the edge and installing turn bar. We're doing this one. I just had a neighbor stop by and he is remodeling this house right over here. Another trailer. Pretty rusty. So he wants to put a rubber roof on that, so we'll give him an estimate right over there. The more the better. First thing he did is he took a roll and unrolled it. Cuts his pieces to length. Does all his measuring. This first 1.5 inches, that's the part that goes against the trailer. Bend that at a 90, make sure it's nice and sweet. Take it out. Flip it. Now the numbers that Paul measured, which he wrote down on the fascia board up there, he's going to measure that here now. That's what goes from the trailer to the outside of our fascia. And he marks that at both ends. Notice it was 6 at that end, 6 1/4 at this end. That's because it will change. That's pretty important that both ends are exactly what it marks out at. Take your metal brake, put it on the 2 marks you just made, one here, one down there. Lock it down. You're going to bend another 90. This part here is going to be the sub fascia. So you got sub fascia, then you have your underneath boxing part, and then the part that's going to be screwed to the trailer. This is an end, an end, and this is what we do to start out the very first piece. What is that, 1.5 inches or something?
Yep.
He marks 1.5 inches because we want to bend that to go around the edge, so we have a good seal. Cut there. Get rid of that piece. Don't need it. He cuts a V in that. Takes that little piece out. Takes some metal benders. On them lines he has, bend it 90 degrees up. Bend the face 90 degrees back. Closes off your end. Now when the next piece comes up, it's going to cover right over the top of that. You won't have any leaks. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. We'll bring that around there and that'll be one of his pieces. He's already been bending. So he'll go along, like I said, and look at them numbers that Paul wrote down and start making his metal. This thing is going to be sweet. And so you know what it's going to look like when you bent that piece around. Just like that. See there how we bent that around? Look at that. Isn't that sweet? Screws in the bottom here for the house. That's why that 1.5 inches is bent down, so we can put our screws in there. Then we use a stainless steel screw in the aluminum up there to hold it up. And then we wrap the ends. That's beautiful. Now he's moved on to the next piece. He already has it ripped down the width he needs. So he puts it, marks that 1.5 inches. That goes down the side of the trailer that you put your screws into to hold your boxing straight. This is just going to be one of the run pieces, center. He's already got his end made. Here, oh. Beautiful. So on this one you don't have to do This one you don't have to do any bending at the ends. This just gets overlapped. 90 degrees. Flip it. Again, the marks that Paul made up there. Six and a quarter. 6 1/4. We'll put that in on the brake. We're allowing 4 inches for the face, right? A lot of people ask, how do you get that rubber on the roof? This is one way. You better have a strong back. Nice strong back. Matt, young man right there, has a strong back. And his knees aren't wore out yet like us old guys. That's how it's done.
Twice his weight.
Twice his weight. That man's a mule.
Alright, that's gonna come off. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Teamwork. So on our transition with this particular type of glue, not only do you put the glue on the rubber, but you also put the glue on the plywood. Excuse me, I've got a cold. And then what you want to do with this is let it dry to the point where it's just about clear. And then what that does is it allows it to bond immediately instead of having to wait. This, we're going to let it dry before we put it together. You'll see that all milky stuff turn clear like that. Where it's turning clear, it'll turn all the way clear basically. Now that's exactly what I'm talking about. You can see where the glue has turned clear on the wood and the rubber. And this is how you want to put that together. This is like contact cement when you do it this way. So if you want it tight right there, you make sure you push it in real nice and tight, and then up the wall. That's the purpose of doing both sides. Makes a nice transition. Nice tight transition. That looks good. Yep. No, don't go sideways, you'll create wrinkles. Kind of push the rubber up and not across. Looks good. He's taking the excess and cutting it off. Don't need it. This piece of rubber is going to go down over that. We're doing the same thing on this little porch over here.
Yeah.
Just up to the
Alright, what we got Paul doing here is called weathered membrane cleaner. And really the only purpose of this stuff is to get the talcum, that white talcum stuff off, and that's what washes that off. Do that with a rag, just wipe it down. And then after you do that, you're going to come back with this right here. Adhesive. And this is what puts the two pieces together. So you clean it, both pieces, and then you put that down, let it dry. After it dries, or comes so it's not tacky, you will take your seam tape, this is right here, we do the 6-inch, they got 3 and 6, I like the 6 seam tape. You put that down, and then you can stick the two pieces together.
wide thing.
Say it again?
That's protection from here, back that way.
Absolutely. I just personally like to give it more than 6 inches, but the seam tape is only 6 inches. But I like to go a little more, it just gives it a little extra protection. Back here, originally we were going to take this one here and use what they call insulation board. But when we started getting rid of the 90-pound felt that was on it, we found rotten wood. We don't leave rotten wood. Some people might cover it over and say, hey, you can't see it from my house, but that's not the way I work. I can see it from my job, and this is my job. This is my house right now. This is my house till I'm done with it. And as far as the work goes, this is my house for years to come, because I'm guaranteeing this is not going to leak. For me personally, I give 5-year no leak guarantee on a rubber like this. If you don't do it right, you're probably going to end up with leaks, especially when you do these seams. This can be, if you watch my videos, you as a homeowner with a few of your friends, if you can find the material, the place to buy this stuff, you can probably do it yourself. You just have to spend a little bit of time. Make sure you do all the steps. That's the most important thing, is following all the steps. And this step right here is very important. So don't cut corners. I wouldn't cut corners on my house. I'm not going to cut corners on your house or anybody else's house. Now wait. Second line.
Couple inches past. Couple inches past.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Down.
Okay. What do you do?
Stay inside that line now.
Good. Good. On the inside of it. Good. On the outside of it. I'm gonna move it.
You go in, Paul.
I can't go in. Go in. What
What are you going to do? Can't do it.
Right there. Good.
I think you turn. See, that will never stay. Supposed to put it on the inside line, the outside. No, the outside line is up. You got to put the top glue past that.
Coach Dad, put that. I put the hook on underneath it. I put the hook up underneath that.
Listen, I don't care.
Yeah, right.
Rub it up. Right here. As long as that's always in there.
Gotcha. No, that's.
Okay. Definitely always push that way, not sideways. You don't want to create a wrinkle. So this has plastic on it. See what he's doing? Watch this. Peel that plastic off. Check that out. See how he's moving his hand that way and not sideways? If you go that way, you'll create a wrinkle. And you also want to keep your plastic right down tight to the roof so you're not lifting up the EPDM as you're going. If you do, you'll wrinkle it all up. A wrinkle won't kill it, but it just doesn't look as good. Plus, you're going to be coming back with EPDM lap sealant and putting it on that lap. Beautiful. Beautiful.
No wrinkles.
No wrinkles. That's very nice.
And it comes all the way back here.
Yep. Yep. That's thick. All right. So number one. See that? That's called lap cement. Doesn't have to be that thick. It's a big old bead there. Okay. What makes this so awesome is, with all the numbers that were wrote on there, Chris was able to just come around here and bend all that metal ahead of time. And now they're just going to walk around this thing and put that metal on the, actually all they have left is the 4 ends, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 4 pieces on the ends. And this piece will have all the metal on it. Last thing we do is termination bar. I like the way that butts up right there. Yeah, it does. Turn bar screws at the bottom. This thing is done.
At least one more turn bar screw.
Beautiful, beautiful work. Now it gets turn bar. How pretty is that? Turn bar is the last step.
Yep, that's it. And the pipe.
Put pipes on, yep. Pipe collar. Beautiful work. Doesn't get much better. Man, that's pretty. What a difference. It does make a huge difference.
No water on the house.
Nice overhang.
Turn bar.
Turn bar, baby. Turn bar, baby. Turn bar, baby. Turn bar. Install turn bar, cut off the excess, done.
Raining. Raining.